Hello, hello. I'm here to talk to you about Valkyr Rework, long awaited, long requested. I hope you're excited to take a look. Let's start with her passive. Her passive used to be, if you get knocked down, you recover faster from it, as a cat would do. It wasn't exactly a beloved passive, mostly because, you'd rather not get knocked down to begin with. But also, during her fourth, she's immune to knockback, so didn't really play much into that. So now, if you in the lower right, you can see that indicator there for melee damage. That is like your rage meter. As you attack enemies, or as you kill enemies, or get finishers, that gives you even more, this bar builds up and gives you melee damage. So if we go over here, so you see as I start attacking, it starts building up the meter down there for your rage. It also does one more thing, but I'm not going to talk about it just yet. I'm going to save that for a little bit. So that is how that works. Then if I want to move around, I can use her one. As you can see now, her one actually moves significantly faster, and it actually kind of doesn't stop midway. It used to be that essentially we just take you a little bit of the way and then just let you be. Now it actually moves along with you. And the other thing it does, if you cast it on an enemy, it actually gathers enemies down for you to be able to knock them down. So you can use it as not only as, it's like a more aggressive version, so instead of pulling the enemies to you, pulls you to the enemy, and then you can just start whacking on them. Warcry was already a pretty solid ability, but we did do some changes. Now you can cast it while you move, as you can see. Now you don't have to stop. You can now recast it, so you don't no longer have to wait for it to be over to be able to cast it. And it's now affinity range, so that means any allies that are within affinity range will now get it. Also, if they leave the range and then come back, they'll get the buff again. So before it was kind of a pain in the ass because you had to like cast it at the very beginning of the mission. So now you have like more flexibility with that. For your 3 paralysis, we did a few changes. It no longer requires you to lose your shield. So as you can see, my shields are still there. And you can see now he has the vulnerability bar, but it disappears if I switch to my range. So that is only melee vulnerability. That means all your melee attacks do more damage to them, and that also applies for other allies. So if you cast this on enemies and then other allies use their melee on them, the enemies will take more damage. It also slows down enemies. That used to be on Warcry, but in Warcry it was kind of useless because it would only do it at the beginning, and generally Warcry you kind of try to maintain it. So now we move that into paralysis, and then you can basically start whacking them with it. And now the biggest one, Hysteria. Don't panic, don't panic. This first little bit is going to be scary, but it's going to be fine, I promise you. In Hysteria, you no longer become fully invulnerable. You now can't take damage during it. So the reason for this is a lot of the mechanics that she had, such as extra armor from Warcry, being one of the Warframes with the most armor in the game, those kind of didn't matter when you were totally invulnerable. It also had this whole section where at the end of it, you could die if you hadn't done like a certain process that was very confusing for most players. So a lot of people would just end up like, once they were running out of energy, they would just hide in a closet and just wait it out, which was pretty bad. So we really didn't like how that was working, so we changed it, so now you are vulnerable during it. But you are pretty durable, and the claws now do significantly more damage. Oh, so actually this is great. Here comes Stormin to show me. Okay, the lighting on this tile is kind of broken, but don't mind me. So, where are you? So there's Stormin. You can see he wasn't long for this world. So let's start with what changed in terms of survivability. We increased the base health and armor of Valkyr just in general. We also made it so the buff from Warcry, which increases your armor by 50%, triples that bonus when you're in Hysteria, so you have way more armor. And lastly, the last part that I kind of talked about with her passive is that if you are above a threshold, and we're still experimenting with where that threshold is, when you take lethal damage, it actually consumes your rage and saves you so you don't die. So you basically have a get out of jail free card there. Since paralysis no longer consumes your shield, that means that you now have shield gate available at most times, so that also protects you. You're not at risk like you were before. So all of this combined, the fact that when you do damage with Hysteria, you heal. So take some damage, take some damage, take some damage. And then when I do damage, I immediately healed it up, right? So as long as you're attacking things, you're healing a lot, you have a bajillion armor, So you're in pretty good shape. On the damage side of things, we made a few changes. So now her range is a little longer with the claw, so she can reach further. The combos now all advanced. They used to have a lot of like starts and stops when you were on the animation, so we changed all of those to not be kind of moving forward all the time, so you don't feel like you're stalling as you go. And now we also added the multipliers on the combos. All of the ones except for her slide used to only have like 100% damage, no extra multipliers. Now they all have extra multipliers to make them basically do more damage. I'll show one right here. And also a lot of the attacks now have a guaranteed status chance for slash, so that really helps a lot. Oh, we also reduced the energy cost of Hysteria, so now it's easier to maintain. I kept yapping, so I didn't do a very good job at showing you how fast you can build her multiplier. So you can use your wand to kind of pull enemies like that. As you can see, the multiplier starts building up fairly fast if you can get it into groups. So that's it. That's a whole lot of changes. Hopefully you enjoyed them. Try her out. She's quite a beast now. I really like how much she moves. She's very, very active. You're all over the place. You're always healing. You're always doing damage. Procs all over the place. Very fun. Take care. Bye-bye. Adios.